Good afternoon, my dear friends. Let me welcome you to the second installment of my discussion of Kamala Das's poem Peripeurperal Insanity. This is Amit Bhattacharya, Professor of English, University of Gurbango, and I am discussing the poem Peripeurperal Insanity by Kamala Das, taken from the Collected Poems, Volume 1 of Kamala Das, privately published by Kamala Das herself in 1983. And it was for this that she received the nomination. She was shortlisted for the Nobel Prize. Ultimately, she didn't get it in 1984, but she was shortlisted along with others. Now, I should, before I continue the discussion of this poem, again acknowledge a debt of gratitude to Dr. Anindya Kumar Roy, Associate Professor of Psychiatry, Malda Medical College and Hospital. Dr. Roy has explained certain issues associated with this mental disease, a mental condition, not disease actually, that affects pregnant women or women who have just given birth to a child. By way of recapitulation, I may tell you that puerperal insanity may develop in strange ways, causing either a severe antipathy towards the child that may lead to infanticide even, or to a fierce protective instinct for the child, and that may lead to an isolation that the mother figure resorts to presumably to keep away the strangers and maintain the atmosphere of privacy and the great love and mutual dependence of the mother and the child. Now, we have discussed almost the first 8 lines of the poem, and we will now start from the third section of the poem. These sections are actually made by me for the sake of convenience, for the convenience of our discussion. So without further ado, let us go to the poem proper.
And doctors entered the jungle of my kingdom, darkly dressed, with forked tails hidden from my view, and stooping to avoid the murmuring branches of the trees, left shaking my husband's hands in silence.
Okay. So now, in this section, the third section of the poem, we get to see the intruders. There is obviously the husband, whose shredded meat of misery had once flowered the sinister bloom of the child and given the woman figure an unwanted pregnancy. So, as we have already detected the presence of the hated husband figure in many other poems of Kamala Das, here also the husband and the doctors, they are conspirators. They appear to be conspirators to the paranoid mother figure. She seems to think that they are entering into a conspiracy in order to intrude upon the sacred privacy of a mother's love for and care for her child, her baby. So the doctors have been described as dressed in dark clothes and with forked tails hidden from my view. Now, this is a very veiled allusion to the fork-tailed drongos, a species of long-legged and long-billed birds that have a fierce nature. They are fiercely protective of their own territories, but at the same time, they often kill and eat the youngs of other birds in their nests. So, for the paranoid woman figure, the psychotic mother figure, the doctors are intruders who may pose a threat to the baby. And they are in collusion with the hated husband figures. And that's why they shake hands and live in silence in a stealthy manner. And they enter the jungle of her kingdom. The kingdom, the realm of the mother and the child, the domain. And why jungle? It is primordial. And these doctors droop to avoid the murmuring branches, presumably the resisting and reluctant branches. This may signify the attempt of the mother figure to prevent them from entering the jungle of her kingdom. But that they are unsuccessful in intruding is ultimately pointed out by the fact that they leave, shaking the hands of her husband. They have to leave. Okay, let's go to the next and the last section of the poem.
Yes, sir. While only the baby and I knew how cleverly I had built with tautened nerves the barbed wire fences to keep the strangers out, yes, to shape the planet that was his and mine. Ellipsis points.
The fiercely protective woman figure who may have been in the throes of this mental condition, puerperal insanity, now remembers that state. And it seems to her, while looking at this phase in her life from the vantage point of lived experience, that with potent nerves of her insane mind, she might have cleverly, this is very significant, cleverly built up the barbed wire fences that kept the strangers out and preserved the privacy of the planet, the domain that was only to be shared by the mother and her baby. The traumatic memory after this gap in time gives a kind of a peculiar pleasure, a satisfaction to the mother figures. Why? Because thanks to this puerperal insanity, she may have been enabled to keep out the strangers and maintain the privacy. So in sum, we may say that this poem describes a complicated mental state of the mother, and I may refer to the dangerous motherhood that you may read. And, Kamala Das's life may provide us with an adequate context for the poem. But it seems to me in the final analysis that tethering the poem to the life, even though sometimes instructive, may not be conducive to a proper understanding of the poet's craft. I will welcome any comment or query that you may have and post. So thanks for watching.